we head out to the fan hotline. He joins us every single Tuesday at 4 p.m. Cleveland's own of NBC Sports, John Fanta. Top of the afternoon to you, sir.
Guys, I'm feeling Schmitty today.
Waited for that one.
I don't know that's the lead. I don't know it's the lead, John.
I liked your Fanta in 60 on your college football so much, we'll let that slide.
Thank you, JP. I appreciate that very much. Appreciate that. Good to be with you guys. Look, as that field goal was missed on Sunday, and you could answer which one, I did immediately think, well, Tuesday could go a lot of different ways for me because I came on your show and I did say I guarantee the win. I really felt good about the matchup, and we saw 3 hours of evidence as to why the Browns match up well with the Cincinnati Bengals. Probably feel better about the Browns matchup with them just about as well as you would with anybody in the league between familiarity and Myles Garrett and whatnot, but to no avail. And as that field goal was missed, I said, well, I might have some questions to answer. It's not all negative, not all doom and gloom, but our argument through the weeks has been Coach Stafanski and hanging on and what's it going to take. And that's a game that, fair or not, you guys have said it before, you are what your record says. And this football team is 0-1, and that was one of the most gettable opportunities for them. And that's why even today, it still stinks. It still resonates. And I think that's the question heading into this Sunday. I know how good the Ravens are, but how will this team mentally and physically respond?
Yeah, and John, we've kind of taken like a glass half full approach to this, even though it's a loss, and that's not great, and they come up with new and well, even old ways to just lose again. The rookies looked so good, and Flacco played well enough, and the defense was incredible in the second half of that game. I mean, fourth quarter alone, you held Burrow to negative 18 total yards. There was a lot of positives there, John.
There's no question there were positives, and I thought that the spirit of the team showed in the game. They were obviously motivated. They heard a lot of the off-season noise that they were not going to be a good football team. You could feel that in the way that they played. And I got to commend Dylan Sampson and Harold Fannin because, guys, I don't remember as a Browns fan the last time I saw two rookies in week 1 of the season contribute to what really should have been a winning effort to that degree. I don't remember the last time I saw it on offense. Both of them coming on offense. Not to mention Carson Schwarzenegger. I expected him to be good. I thought he was fantastic. I really did. The way that he pursued the football, the way that he protected the middle of the field, it was really impressive to watch. So there's no question. There were many more positives than negatives in this game. There were. And there's a lot to like about the rookie class out of the gates. Obviously, there's got to be more subject matter. But, guys, for Fannin to do what he did, one of my favorite plays of the game was when Fannin improvised, went down the right side of the field, and Flacco found him. Joe said after the game, you could feel how young pieces are on this team. And it felt like that. It felt like Joe was sort of this teacher trying to get a class started with the syllabus week. The problem is this isn't syllabus week. You're judged on wins and losses. But wasn't it amazing? Within the game, we saw players grow. Like Sampson was more comfortable on drive 2 and drive 3 than he was drive 1. Same can be said of Fannin. He settled in the game. That to me, if there's anything, in a losing effort, it was as much positive as you could take from a team that we thought could be, bottom 3 in the league. They still could be. They still could be, and I might eat my words and I might owe Nick Wilson dinner. But for week 1, there were things that really surprised me for the good.
John Fanta on the fan hotline here. I made another burger bet as well with Dustin, one of our sales guys. So I'm going to be having multiple burgers potentially as soon as November. Now, listen, you and I, we've gotten heated. 3 weeks ago it was you and JP. 2 weeks ago it was you and me. I'm not trying to start anything, but it sounded like in that first segment, that first answer that you had, we might be getting the Fanta flip-flop on Kevin Stafanski when you say you are what your record is, because his record is now 6 games below 500.
Right. So you're not getting a flip-flop from me because I don't pin this loss on him. I don't. If you did, I think you're crazy because I thought he prepared his football team. I think he has less talent. If I'm going to pin the loss on anybody, it's the general manager who can't find a kicker. It's his job to get personnel together, and his inability to find a functional kicker is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and the guy shouldn't have a job today. I don't know how you roll him back out there week 2. You thought there were nerves week 1. Wait till he comes out in Baltimore and tries to make a kick. So you're not getting flip-flopping from me. I think I know what the reality is. And I know that if Kevin Stefanski only amounts to 3 or 4 wins, I don't think a good football coach is getting more than 6 wins out of this football team. I just don't. I don't think that they're experienced enough. I don't think they're talented enough. My point is, I felt like Kevin really needed to get this game. I felt like the team needed to get this game for their morale, for their season. I called it a must-win because I don't see a win in sight in the next couple of weeks. And maybe this team will surprise me, but I felt like they needed to get a win because I think they're going to take losses in the next 3 games. That's how I feel. So that's why, for me, I'm not naive to say in January when I come on your program, if the Browns have a really bad record, that I understand why changes are being made. But I do think that there's things beyond the coach's control. You guys don't need me to run you through the evidence of Stefanski's record when kicks are made and when they're not. Yet again, the team doesn't have competence at the kicker position, and it killed them on Sunday.
Yeah, John, you'll be happy to know I actually really liked Stefanski's game plan. I liked his approach to it, and he in many ways, he stuck to what his strengths are against this Bengals team, because one of the things I do love about Stefanski is that he is able to scheme a bunch of open receivers and open players constantly, and when you have someone like Flacco, and this is where there's got to be some upside moving forward, or at least excitement moving forward, someone like Flacco that can just easily deliver to those guys, you can move the ball, and you can consistently move the ball.
Well, to me, one of the biggest plus sides on Sunday was Cedric Tillman, because when Cedric Tillman's been with a competent quarterback, we've seen him be a good receiver. I mean, if you read any fantasy pieces this week for fantasy football, Cedric Tillman's name is getting brought up a ton because of his value, because he's going to be able to hit that slant route. He's showing the ability in the middle of the field, and he's able to make that catch and do something with it. So I think that guys, at the core of it, is why since June you've asked me who should be starting week 1, and I maintain this, like it was always going to be Joe Flacco, because you couldn't properly evaluate, and injuries played a part obviously, and Tillman's been through that, but you couldn't properly evaluate the pieces on this offense last year because the quarterback play was so awful. We got to see what Stefanski is when quarterback play is competent, and we got to see it was a good reminder of what a Tillman can be, of what an Njoku could be. Yeah, Judy had a rough day. I expect him to answer that this Sunday. And it was a good opportunity for us to see just what this passing attack looks like, where the pieces aren't great around Flacco, but because he's calm, cool, and collected, it shows that what you've got, that's what this is about. What do the Browns have going forward?
John Fanta on the Fan Hotline here with Nick and JP. With the Ravens are celebrating the 30th anniversary of being the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday in a game they happened to play the Cleveland Browns. Is that fair or foul by the team in Baltimore?
That is so foul, it stinks. I mean, that is one of the biggest jokes I've ever heard of in my life. You know, they did enough by taking the team overnight. Now you have to celebrate them on Sunday and their history and all the winning they've done. There are no Baltimore Ravens without the Cleveland Browns. Let's make that very, very, very clear. And now you're going to rub it in. You're going to rub it in. Well, I wouldn't expect anything less, but I just think it's honestly, it's petty. They know what they're doing. And I disagree wholeheartedly with that. I just think it's ridiculous, to be candidly honest with you guys. There's an inbounds and an out of bounds, and it's a sensitive thing. I know they don't care. Clearly, they do not care. And you know what? The Browns are now all week long. They're going to hear about how they're the biggest underdog in the National Football League by a wide margin, and nobody expects them to have any chance. And you know what? What I say is, all it takes is one Myles Garrett hit. All it takes is one big play from this defense, and a Flacco who is steady enough. And you have to think the Browns are not going to catch as much. If they have two more drop passes and interceptions, man, we'll come on next week and I'll say, "Oh, damn, I was wrong. This is obviously going to be a trend now." They're not going to have two more of those. Look, I know they're a heavy underdog. Nobody expects them to win. But that's all they're going to hear all week. Combine that with the big celebration of the Baltimore Ravens history. Forget it, guys. You know what? I hope this Browns team plays like they should play, and that's with nothing to lose. But that is beyond foul for the Ravens to honor their legacy against the team that they took.
Cleveland's own John Fanta, NBC Sports, covering college football, college basketball, and soon-to-be sidelines occasionally on the NBA on NBC. John, great stuff as always. You were measured. You were professional. This NBC thing's getting to you.
Yeah,
You're very suited and booted. Very proud of you.
Thank you, John.
You know what it is, guys? My son is napping 2 rooms over, and I don't want to be the reason. I don't want to be the reason today why he wakes up. By the way, the Buckeyes are on Peacock Saturday night against Ohio. So for those Ohio State fans, you will see me from time to time throughout the game broadcast. I look forward to it.
And probably a little bit more boisterous there because we don't want to wake him up either. Be good, John.
We'll get it going.
Thank
Thanks,
you, John.
fellas.
Yeah, well, that was very good. John Fanta on the Fan Hotline.